Hi, everyone. Good morning to you. Friendly reminder before we get started here, please, if you don't mind, keep yourself on mute. Add your affiliation, if you don't mind, next to your name on Zoom ID. As always, Arnie's here to help with record permission. So if you need that, go ahead and ask Arnie. And if you have a question, we will get to your questions here. Use the virtual raise hand in just a little bit. The 2025 NTT INDYCAR Series season resumes this weekend with a return to the streets of Long Beach and the celebration of the 50th edition of the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. Kyle Kirkwood heads there, riding a really strong start to the season, one of only 6 drivers who have started the season with back-to-back top 10 finishes. He's currently 6th in points, and as you'll remember, he's the 2023 winner at Long Beach, picking up his first career NTT IndyCar Series win there, also winning from pole position. And the driver, the number 27, Andretti Global Honda, joins us this morning. Kyle, good morning. Up early today?
Yes, sir. Well, not too early. It's what is it? Not, it's almost 10 a.m. That's
Oh,
not too.
I don't know. I don't know how you Florida guys do this.
Yeah,
Usually whatever.
yeah, it's not
Hey,
too early. Thanks for
all
having me
right.
though.
No, it's awesome. Thanks for doing this. You talk about the start to the season. I mean, how would you sum up so far 2 races in 2025 for you?
Um, you know, I should be a lot more satisfied than I am, I would say. Because if you look back at St. Pete, it's one of our better races, right? And I pretty much followed Alex Palou the entire race and watched him win, which is disappointing. And then Thermal, we were on for what seemed like a locked top 4 finish, so 2 top 5s in a row, and we had a huge tire deg for 5 laps to go, which just ruined our race, and we finished 8th. But I mean, of course, it can be worse. But as a driver, as a competitor, you always want better. So yeah, we'll be excited to get back to Long Beach at a place that we all know very very well, and is one of our top tracks at Andretti Global.
Yeah, I guess to that point, we all know how strong Andretti Global has been and is on street circuits. So knowing, I guess the next one comes in June, this is kind of a big weekend, big opportunity for you guys, correct?
Yeah, it definitely is, right? And I think if you look back at history in general, Long Beach has been one of the best tracks for Andretti Global. I think Toronto and Detroit are starting to grow on that as well. But street courses in general, really, really good. Long Beach has been a top one for the team. So we're always excited. And that place just produces a lot of good energy with the amount of fans and et cetera, et cetera. So always a good place to get back to.
And sidebar here too, I know it's a big weekend for TWG Motorsports as well, with 4 teams racing in the U.S. next weekend. Dan Towers, CEO, is going to hit them all. I think Friday night truck race, Saturday Formula E down at Homestead, and then IMSA at Long Beach, and then of course the NTT IndyCar Series weekend. So no pressure. You're
Yeah,
looking for a sweep, right?
Dan's gonna be more busy than we are flying around. Yeah, that's gonna be cool. I think there is a lot of hype within the team about that. It's an exciting time for TWG and Andretti Global to have all these series in one place or in one country at one time. So yeah, I mean, a lot of excitement around it. I think it's really cool. It just shows how big this organization has gotten, right? So yeah, it'll be cool. We'll also have, I think, some of the guys over in Long Beach on Sunday, so that'll be exciting.
That's going to be cool. Yeah, it's exciting to see the growth in the last couple of years of Andretti Global and certainly TWG as well. So,
Right. Yeah.
all right, with that, let's open it up for questions. Let's begin. Bob Pockrass, hand up, camera on. Go ahead. You're first, Bob.
Thanks. Robert Wickens is racing this weekend at Long Beach in the IMSA race. I'm curious, what has your interaction been with him and his role at Andretti? What has been struck you about your interactions with him, and will be, I mean, just kind of what will you think when you see him race this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see him race. Right, I watched that video of him in the Corvette at Sebring. It looked awesome. So I'm excited to see him get into the car, run around Long Beach, a place that he knows very well, and he's very quick around. So, but my interaction with him within the team has been very good. He's another set of eyes from a driver standpoint. There's it's hard to, I would say from the outside, if you're not a driver, to really know what a driver needs. And when you have another driver kind of looking over things and paying attention to what other people are doing and picking out certain things and then kind of sharing that to you when we are very limited on how much time we have to look over stuff. He's been a huge help in that department. So he sits inside the engineering truck with us. He mostly he just goes over data, video, analyzes what other drivers are doing, goes over dartfish video, and then just kind of gives us a rundown like, hey, look at what this, even if it's a driver that we wouldn't even be paying attention to, he's going over them and saying, hey, look what he's doing in this corner. You should really try doing this or this. And because of that, it's taken a lot of pressure off of us to have to self-learn, because he's just there to help us push us along without having to dig in depth. So, obviously he's going to be racing this weekend, so we'll not be able to have him as much. I'm sure he'll be paying attention, right, and still giving us some feedback. But it's a little bit of a loss for us, but a huge win for him, and we'll be excited to watch him and see how he does this weekend. I think he's going to have a lot of fun doing it.
And, a lot has been made this year about the Shank Ganassi relationship and how they're kind of splitting their tests up. And I'm just curious, have you noticed anything on your end? Do you feel like you're missing anything without an alliance?
It's hard to say. I would say more often than not, having so many cars under one umbrella confused us. And if they would go to, for instance, if we split up a test where I think it was last year where they went to Barber and we went to INDYGP, and we went back to Barber, everything was kind of irrelevant and we were basing everything off of their test. So, even though you have so much information from running that many cars, sometimes it gets a little too confusing, especially when you have as many different dynamics amongst the drivers and how they want to have things. It can just get confusing. So I would say we don't feel like we're missing anything, is the simple answer. But at the same time, it is nice to have that information, especially if you're running out of information to look at. But I don't think that is the case at the moment.
Thank you so much.
No worries.
Thanks, Bob. Let's go to Archie O'Reilly from Dive Bomb Motorsports. Good morning, Archie.
Hi, Dave. Hi, Kyle. First of all, I remember mentioning to you, Kyle, on I think Media Day in 24 that your only two top fives in IndyCar were your two wins. I'm just wondering
That is right.
Yep. I'm just wondering kind of a year or so on where you feel you are in your kind of personal development as an IndyCar driver. Obviously now in your fourth season and your third with Andretti.
I feel like I'm chipping away at it. I'm disappointed that we haven't gotten the wins that we had in 2023, but we're also putting ourselves in positions to be a lot closer to a lot more wins. So, my goal coming out of 2023 was to get more top fives, as I mentioned to you after 2023. And we've definitely done so, and we put ourselves in position to win a lot more recently. But we still haven't gotten those wins. So it's a two-edged sword. I think this weekend coming into Long Beach is one of our best opportunities to do so. And we're obviously going to be looking for a win. And honestly, at this time, we need wins to be able to win a championship here, because Alex Palou is just walking away with it at the moment. So we need to turn that ship around.
I guess, how do you believe you can bridge that gap to what Palou and what Ganassi are doing in order to kind of get up there in that championship fight?
Well, we got to do the same thing that they're doing. We got to win races. We can't let them get a big head start. That's one thing that Palou has done, I think, in the past couple of years, is he gets a huge head start and then everyone kind of claws back at him at the end of the season, but he's kind of just on cruise control at that point. So we just need to not let him get out front and kind of hold him back in a little bit. And that comes with not letting him win at all these tracks, especially the ones that we're strong at. So yeah, this is a very crucial weekend for us to turn things around in the championship hunt. Even though it's so early in the season, a lot of people don't look at points and they're like, oh, well, it's only 2 races in of a 17 race season. Yeah, but if the guy's 60 points ahead of you, you got to kind of pay attention to that. Like there is a long way to go, but you're also falling behind very early, which is not something you want to do.
And then I guess looking specifically at Long Beach, it's often kind of seen as second in command to the 500 in terms of prestige. You're obviously a winner there. So I guess what was it like to win at that track, and why do you think, or what do you think makes it so special as an event?
I mean, the history behind it is what makes it so special. The fans that come out to it, it made it even more special that I won it with Andretti, even given that they have so much history around that track. It's prestigious because of how many people show up, really, and the history history behind it, which is the same reason for the Indy 500, right? So it still is our second biggest race of the year, and it was a really big deal for me to win there. But I mean, any win's a win, so I would take it anywhere.
Cheers, guys. Best of luck this weekend, Kyle.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you.
Yeah, Kyle, I think last year they said 194,000 fans over the 3 days at Long Beach. And obviously, you know what it means to win there. And they're celebrating 50 years, too, the 50th edition of Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach.
Yeah, this will be a big one, I'm sure.
Chris DeHardy, you're up next. Go ahead, Chris.
Thanks, Dave. Kyle, the IndyCar series has increased the amount of boost available for the hybrid, if my memory is correct. Just how much will that be effective for you at Long Beach with how many long straights they have at the track?
Well, we don't have a reference there, right? Because we didn't drive there last year with the hybrid. So
Yep.
It's hard to say what it actually does or what they actually would have set it at last year. But it's just based on a kilojoules amount, and it means how much can you deploy, how much can you regen in certain areas of the track. So like I said, there isn't a reference, so we don't know how effective it will be compared to last year, but it does something, right? Like we have to nail that. That is a crucial part. Now that they're increasing the energy limits, it's becoming more and more effective, and it matters across a quali lap or even a race stint. So it is important.
To reference, part of that answer, you didn't have the hybrid at St. Pete last year, but it changed a few things this year. What did you learn at St. Pete with the hybrid and how different it was from last year that you can apply to Long Beach? Or is it just so different in terms of how the tracks are that there's nothing that really applies?
To be honest, our team's done so well with mapping it and running sims and understanding exactly how it needs to be that it's kind of second nature. And that's why it is important, right? Like you need to come into the weekend and not be questioning, oh, how do you want to run this deployment strategy or something like that. You need to have it nailed down. That way, you can just focus on the car balance, and if you're giving away 100th or two because of it, I mean, so be it. But at the same time, like it's our team's done really, really well just mapping it, giving us a strategy and saying, hey, just run the strategy, and we can kind of forget about it. And a lot of work's gone into that, and we had it nailed at the past two tracks, and I suspect we'll have it nailed again at Long Beach.
And then my last question, a couple weeks after the Long Beach Grand Prix, you got the open test at IMS. How much are you looking forward to that?
I'm seriously looking forward to it. I think the past couple of years there, we've had a really good shot at winning the race across a couple of the cars on our team. And we were one of the best qualifying Hondas. So I think there's a lot of hype within the team. We've pushed really hard in the off season to get our cars even faster. And I think there's a lot of hype from Honda too. I think that they feel like they're in a good spot, and we're hoping to come out swinging at the first test and have a very smooth month of May.
All right. Good luck on Long Beach. Have fun.
Thank you.
Thanks for checking in, Chris. Eric Smith, IndyCar.com. Good morning, Eric.
Morning. Kyle, how do you balance maybe I guess maybe the different feeling, for a lack of a better word, of going to a race weekend, knowing that car is capable of a win versus other race weekends, or maybe there's some tracks maybe aren't as strong for the team versus like this weekend, as you keep saying that there's a good chance of this car is going to capable of a podium or at least a win. How do you balance the emotions going into those weeks?
I would say the weekends that you feel like you have a really good shot are the easiest. And I guess you wouldn't think that coming into it, but now that I've had a couple years in the series, the hardest weekends are the ones that you're struggling. And it's the ones that you're struggling to get into a top 10 finish. And when you have just kind of pace under your belt in a race weekend or across practices and qualifying, etc., it just makes things a lot more easy. And given the nature of the schedule with IMSA and IndyCar running on the same weekend at Long Beach, it makes the schedule very tight, and it doesn't give you a lot of time to really focus on changes and to hone in on stuff. So coming off the trailer very quick is very important. And it just gives you a sense of ease, if I'm being honest. Of course, you have the pressure that, okay, now you have a fast car. Now it's all on you to go out there and win. But, if anything, that just gives me comfort, right? Because I'm pretty confident that I can get it done if I have everything in my arsenal. So yeah, it's not really managing emotions. It's more just an easier weekend if everything's kind of flowing right.
Makes sense. And my last one is, this is the first race since these kind of new rules were adding laps to the distance, and you got 5 extra laps. I know it's kind of hard to know before you do it, but how do you foresee the early indications of adding 5 laps to this race? And does it change the way strategy a little bit, even though it's 5 laps, but that could take a 2 to 3 stopper?
Honestly, that's something I haven't talked to the team about, and strategy is not my forte. So that's a good question. I assume it's just going to guarantee a strategy, because if I'm not mistaken, it's been kind of a 2 or 3 stop strategy in the past, and it'll likely just guarantee it, whatever strategy, which is likely the 3 stop. But we'll see. I mean, anything, you say that now, but a yellow here or there could change everything. So it's hard to say if it's actually going to change or not. That's something that I think we're going to go over pre-race and really have a good fixture on, but that's something I don't understand yet.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Safe travels out west this week.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Eric. Edmund Jenks, Motorsports Journal. Edmund, we're heading your way. You might be on mute. Nope, maybe not. We can't hear you, though, Edmund.
Dang it.
There we go.
Oh, there you go. Nope.
Are we on now?
There you go.
Jesus, I'm sorry.
You're
Technology. Good. Anyway, Kyle, again, welcome back to Long Beach. You do pretty well here. I guess some of the trick is to, qualify well, so that way you're able to move forward well. But I noticed in St. Pete, you qualified back in P9 and were able to get up to P5. What types of things you would need to do in Long Beach in order to have those kinds of results?
Are you saying, sorry, or can you repeat your question? I don't really understand.
I guess basically if you qualify down below P6, in other words, you don't make it into the final round of knockout qualifications, what types of things or strategies do you believe you need to employ in order to move it on up?
I mean, it's either 2 ways. You either go off strategy or you have a ton of pace and you're able to drive by people, right? Those are the only 2 things. Whether it's a fuel save like Dixon did last year, or you go an extra stop than anyone else and you just drive by people. Those are really only 2 things that you can get it done. But I feel like this year, and maybe a bit of last year, qualifying didn't matter as much as it has in the past. And I'm not sure why, but like Dixon won from wherever he qualified, which was kind of deep in the pack. I think he was around me, maybe 8th or 9th or something like that. And then Pelot at the beginning of this year, what did he qualify? I think 8th. I think he was just behind me. And he won the race from there. And that was really just good strategy, good fuel saving. And he was on the same strategy as everyone else, right? They just nailed it on the right laps that they needed to when it was in and out laps. So, I mean, there's a multitude of things that you can do to get yourself back up front, but ultimately you just want to qualify up front and stay up front. That's that's what makes everything easiest. And that's what we're going to be looking at doing this weekend.
And Christopher Doherty basically touched on this with the with the regen energy, and then you have push to pass. What I guess additional functionality that you're in control of between those two do you like the best? Do you like push to pass or regen, or is there a way to balance the two?
Yeah, they're different, right? I understand that they're both giving power, but one's essential and one's optional. I would say the hybrid is essential. You have to use it every single lap unless you're having some sort of failure or something. And if that happens, you're going slow. The push to pass, it's either 150 or 200 seconds this weekend, and that's obviously optional. And you're going to utilize that kind of more so for strategy, whether it's in and out laps or to get by a car, right? You're not going to just use it every single lap like you would be the hybrid. So that's the way you have to look at it as a driver.
And then I guess lastly, driving a Honda, it's pretty good going into the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach, especially when Honda still feels that this is a little bit of their home track. But what do you feel about passing between 6 and 8? In other words, turn 7 there on Pine.
Is that the back straight?
It's the short chute in front of the convention center.
Are you talking about
before you get to Seaside?
Are you talking about where Pato drove into the side of Dixon?
Yeah.
Is that what we're referencing right now?
Up the hill. Yeah.
Yeah, you go up the hill and then down, then turn right.
I mean, you can make a pass happen there. It kind of the right situation needs to arise where somebody's getting backed up a little bit, and you kind of have to really be aggressive going into there. It's not somewhere that I would choose to pass early on in the race, but if an opportunity presented itself, maybe later in the race, yeah, it's somewhere that you'd have to get it done. So any way you want to look at it, I'm not really sure.
I guess that popped into my mind because that area has a history with Andretti. Any event, thank you very much. Have a great run.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Edmund. Alejandro Berzosa. Go ahead, Alejandro.
Thanks, Dave. First of all, Kai, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Fine. Good to see you here. I just want to ask you, you have the best start of the season in your IndyCar career in 2025. How much have you and the team changed compared to last year to have this incredible start of the season?
I would like to say it's me, but it's not. I think I'm doing a decent job, but the team has also put a huge effort in to make sure that we're quicker at some of these other tracks, right? I think Andretti has always been really good at street courses, and we've needed to get maybe a little bit better at some of the road courses as the years went on, they degraded a little bit. And then same with short ovals. Short ovals is something that I think we nailed last year, and I think that we've gotten a lot closer on the road courses this year. So it's a magnitude of things. I think I'm doing a decent job, but also the team has gotten better at some of these tracks.
I want to ask you something that you've mentioned a couple of times during this press conference, and it's the fact that Alex Palou has the two races of the season so far, the dominance that Alex has, the last couple of years that Alex did an incredible start of the season. For a team, for a driver who wants to fight for the championship, how desperate to see a driver like Alex doing exactly the same things in the first couple of races and having the same result at the end of the year that is winning the championship.
I mean, it's not a surprise if that's what you're asking. He's been on it for the past few years, right? And he's given everything that he needs to perform really, really well, and he's doing a good job. So, I mean, hats off to him. But it's just all the more reason for us to want to go out and beat them. I think now it's turning into a thing that when you beat Alex Palou, you've clearly had a really good day, and he's kind of the number one guy that anyone's looking at this moment. So, it like I mentioned before, we need to start getting ahead of them. That's the only way that we'll beat them, and that comes with wins and podiums and top 5 finishes, because you can expect them to be up there. So yeah, I mean, that's really all there is to it. He's doing an amazing job, and no one can take anything away from him. When you win 2 races in a row, that's a hard thing to do. When you kick off season, that's an even harder thing to do. When you win a couple championships in a row, that's an even harder thing to do. And he's just kind of nailing everything right now. So yeah, we got to stop him in his tracks. I think that's what everybody's thinking in the series at this moment.
Okay, thank you very much, Kyle. Good luck for this weekend, and I hope you can fight Alex for the victory in one of your favorite tracks, that it's Long Beach.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Alejandro. Everyone that has their hand up, we have time for. We'll try to quickly get through everyone. Isha, Chaos in the Paddock. Love that name. Isha, go ahead.
Thank you so much. You were able to climb from P9 to P5 in St. Pete, as Alejandro mentioned before, and you were able to hold your place in thermal. Do you think you're able to carry this momentum into Long Beach?
Yeah, of course. I think Long Beach has been really good to us, right? When we won 2 years ago, then last year we finished 7th, which I really didn't think that was our potential. I think we could have definitely had a top 5 there last year. We're going to be looking at going for a podium this weekend. I think anything worse than that we'll be disappointed with. So the momentum plus some.
Yeah. We saw in thermal last time around, strategy is one of the biggest variables for results. Do you think that Long Beach would provide the same strategy challenge?
You're talking about from thermal?
Yes.
The strategy there. Well, I mean, everyone kind of understands the strategy at Long Beach, even though that there's 5 laps added to it. It's still the same. We have so much information around that place that it should be pretty easy to know exactly what we need to do. I think the only question in our minds is, how do the current red tires hold up around there? At St. Pete, they didn't hold up at all, right? They lasted a few laps. It was 1 lap and done in qualifying, and that usually indicates that they're not going to be a good tire for the race. So that's obviously going to play into that race, because in the past it's typically been a red tire race. So and that's obviously going to change now, considering it's the same tire as St. Pete. So that's really the only question mark that we have in our minds right now, and we need to get through the first practice to really know exactly how bad or good it's going to be.
All right. Thank you so much, Dave, and good luck, Kyle, in Long Beach.
Thank you.
Thank you. Tiamo, go ahead.
Dave, hi Kyle. Just a quick question. Looking back at last season, going over to this season, is there something specific that you learned last year that you can apply to this year to try and get back to where you want to be up on the grid, especially at Long Beach?
Yeah, the only thing I would say is I learned how to be consistent. I learned how to get ourselves in a good position. But I also realized that it takes somewhat of a conservative mindset to get the consistency. So you need a little bit more aggression to be able to get the wins and podiums. So trying to balance that is kind of the name of the game for me this year.
Thank you very much. Cheers, Dave. Good luck, Kyle.
Thank you.
You got it. Thanks for checking in. Chris, stand by. Austin, go ahead.
All right, Kyle, you've had 3 top 10s in your 3 starts at Long Beach. What about the track? Maybe do you like as a driver how the track drives? What's your favorite parts about it?
I mean, some people like to say I'm kind of a street course merchant, but that place is it's an enjoyable place to drive. It's very unique for a street course. It's not just 90-degree corners like most of them are, and the constant change in asphalt makes you adapt very quickly to what the grip level is going to be in one corner versus the next. So I enjoy that. I think it's fun. and I couldn't tell you why I'm fast around there, because if that was the case, I would take that to every single track that I ever go to. But I just find it really enjoyable to drive.
Great. Krista Hardy. I know you had a follow up before we wrap it up. Go ahead, Chris.
Hey Kyle, just looking through, the weekly notes and all that I had, and saw that Oliver Askew got signed to be Andretti's Formula E driver. You grew up racing with him. He hasn't been in a car recently. Just your thoughts on Oliver having that role with Andretti again.
Yeah. I mean, it's exciting. It's exciting news for him, right? He's obviously a childhood friend of mine. I've known him since I was 4 years old. We kind of grew up doing all the same things, right? He's a couple or a year and 10 months older than me, so he was always kind of a step ahead in cars than me. But we literally had the same exact trajectory all the way through, and it was obviously cut short with McLaren and IndyCar, and then he moved over to the Formula E program with Andretti BMW, and he has not had anything, I'd say, for what has it been, the past year and a half. He did a little bit of sports car stuff. He's been driver coaching, but he's still an amazing driver. Nothing to take away from him, that's for sure. And I think he will be that'll be a good role for him, right? It keeps him, I think, somewhat active, keeps them somewhat in the spotlight, and hopefully it creates an opportunity for him to be in a full-time seat once again, because he deserves it.
Thanks.
Chris, thank you. Kyle, we're going to leave it there for now. Thanks for doing this. Who do you got in the game tonight, by the way? Florida or Houston?
I could care less.
You're supposed to say Florida because you. All right, never mind.
I like watching it. I'm not like, oh, that's my school. No, could care less.
Fair enough. Yeah. Safe travels. We'll see you in Long Beach.
Thanks. Have a good one. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, pal. Hey, a quick reminder: video from this news conference, along with transcript, will be available on the INDYCAR content site shortly. 4:30 broadcast starts Sunday on Fox, the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your week.